I can honestly say I had no clue.
Okay. So the day I called you, and I had, something had went on that day, and you said, Brandy, I was over your house, and you said, do you have something to tell me? And I said, no, Mom. And I left your house and I went home, and the burden inside of me became so overwhelming. And the reason that it was overwhelming because I felt like I had been lying to you for the first time when you asked me, Brandy, and I just left. I didn't say anything. I didn't say no. And so for me to keep something from you any longer, it didn't make sense. Because if you were asking me, you weren't assuming. You were asking for a reason. And I said, Mom, I have something to talk to you about. And you said, what is it? And you said, what is it? Yeah. And I said, you already know what it is. And you said, just say it. And I confirmed that I had been dating women. And now tell me how you felt.
Well, at first I was shocked. It was just shock. And then I was like, well, if that's what she wants to do, and if that's what makes her happy, then who am I to say anything positive or negative? Because I love you for who you are, no matter what you do or how you do it. I just love you. I love you unconditionally, and unconditionally means with everything.
Okay.
So it really didn't matter. It really, really, really didn't matter. You could have told me that, you were getting ready to be an astronaut. I would have had the same reaction. So it would have been no different.
Do you ever feel a sense of loss?
No, never.
Okay.
Never.
Because I know, some of my friends, their parents will feel like they've lost their child, and especially, I think it's harder for gay men living.
Lost a child how? I don't understand that, how people can say lost a child. And I told you that earlier today, and I was talking to a lady at work, and she's already adopted, and her adopted mother told her that she be dead than to be gay. How can you say that to somebody you love?
Right.
I just don't understand. Everybody does something, and who's to say that what I'm doing, I don't live a perfect lifestyle, so who's to say that who's to say what is good and what is bad? Who's to say what is good and what is bad? And that's how I look at it. I don't see the bad in that, and I don't see I do a whole lot of things. So who's to say I'm living nuts? I don't live perfect. And if somebody loves you, good for you. Good for you.
Right. Now, is there any type of disappointment?
None.
Did you feel?
None. You couldn't ever, I can't say you couldn't ever do anything to disappoint me, but your lifestyle, that could never be a disappointment to me. Yeah, it would be a disappointment to me if you killed somebody.
I asked you specifically.
Something.
Go ahead.
You couldn't, no, Brandy, you couldn't ever disappoint. The way you live, that's no disappointment to me. I love you. Period.
And the reason that I asked those specific words, a sense of loss or disappointment, is because a lot of people in my community, well, me, I'm gonna put it in my through my lens. I've always strived to be the best daughter that I could be, the best sister, the best student. I've always excelled. So I always wanted to be a perfect child for you. Not because you put high pressure on me, because you put a standard up that I wanted to live up to. I always grew up knowing that you were a smart, intelligent woman, and I wanted to be like my mom. And being gay wasn't being like my mom. So that was one of the biggest things that I didn't want, was for you to feel a sense of loss or some type of disappointment. You get where I'm going?
No, but that's your choice. I choose to do other things. You choose to do what you do. Other people choose to do what they do. That's not a disappointment. That's your choice.
Right.
People have choices, and that's your choice. And that belongs to you. It doesn't belong to me.
And I can't stress enough how good it is to have that support. I mean, you can pick and choose all the friends and whoever you choose to hang out with daily, but you can't choose your parents. And every child wants to be the best at the end of the day. Representation.
You're the best at the end of the day, the end of the week, the end of the year, Brandy. So don't ever, I don't know why you would even question how I would feel, how I felt when you told me. It was no big deal. You told me and I went along with my day like it was nothing else.
Right. I mean, when I was talking about that, I mean like before. Because there's all these things that go like in your head, like what is she gonna think? And until it's almost just like jumping it off a ledge into water. Until you've done it, you don't know. You have that, uneasiness. Right. But I know that you love me unconditionally, and I know that there would be nothing that could damage our relationship to its core. Nothing could do that. You're one of my favorite people in the entire world, and I'm honored that God chose you to be my mom. And that's huge for me. So what I want, lastly, I think people need to hear a positive voice coming from a mom's point of view. So if there is any advice that you could give to a mom who's struggling with their child's sexuality, what would you say?
That whatever your son or your daughter, you have to love them. Because a lot of people don't feel the way that I do and accept the lifestyle that you have. And then who would choose to be ridiculed all the time? People don't choose to be like this. This is who you are. This is who you are. And I accept you and every other person like you. Because it's a lot of mean people. It's a lot of mean people. But you should never feel uncomfortable at home with your own parents. This is one place you should feel safe. This is a safe ground. If you can't feel safe anywhere else, you should feel safe in your mother's or your father's arms. That's the only place you should, that you guaranteed to feel safe. I can put it like that. So don't let this ruin a relationship. It's more things that you can be worried about or thinking about. As long as your child is happy, that's all I'm worried about. All I'm worried about is my baby's being happy. And I wish the best for you. You're probably the happiest that I've seen you in your whole life.
And I am. I'm truly who I'm.
And I can tell. And I can tell.
I know I'm not the
I can tell in your conversation.
Go ahead.
But no, I can tell in your conversation. Every time I talk to you, you're just happy. And you weren't like that when you were here in St. Louis. Because this is not where you wanted to be. So if I could say anything to anybody, embrace your baby. You have to, because nobody else will.
Thank you so much, Mom. I really appreciate it. I love you, and thank you for doing this interview.
Love you too, sweetie.
Okay. Now remember to always visit my blog again. That's just askhoneybee.blogspot.com.